that he's embarked on a spiritual journey that you can see the visuals of right now. He is in Karnataka, and following that, he'll be going across to Goa as well. Remember, earlier in the day, there were huge crowds also who had greeted him in Udupi in Karnataka when he had gone there. And these are the visuals coming in of the Prime Minister. This is a spiritual sojourn that he has undertaken right now, and you can see how he is making offerings to the sanctum outer window as well in Udupi. This is the visual which is coming in of the Prime Minister. Earlier in the day, of course, there was a mega roadshow also in which he was showered with petals. Thousands of people had lined up on the streets as they cheered him as his convoy passed by. The entire route had been draped in saffron flags, buntings, and of course there were barricades. But then this was, after all, a spiritual journey that he has undertaken today in Udupi. And there's a gilded offering also that he has made. And you can see that on your screens, a gilded offering that he has made to the temple at the Laksha Kantha Gita Parayana. This is the live visual that you can see of the Prime Minister doing darshan. In fact, this is a very significant sojourn that he has currently undertaken. He is unveiling the Lord Ram statue as well later on in Goa. In fact, these are the live visuals which are coming in as well. This is a Dharma Yatra that has been undertaken by the Prime Minister. In Karnataka right now, these are the live visuals which are coming in from Udupi. Later on in the day, he is also going to be going across to Goa. This is the Sri Krishna Matha. It's an 800-year-old Sri Krishna Matha, and you can see the elaborate preparations which are currently underway for the Prime Minister. In fact, this is a very significant one. The Prime Minister is taking part in the Laksha Kantha Gita Parayana, where 1 lakh devotees chant the Bhagavad Gita together, and they has inaugurated the new Suvarna Tirtha Mantapa that you can see on your screens as well. In fact, the Prime Minister has gone there. He is first, when he entered this mandir, he offered floral tributes to the saint and the poet, and then Kanakadasa, and then he unveiled the golden covering which is placed over the Kanaka Kindi. In fact, you can see the visuals there of the golden covering on your screens as well. The Prime Minister received a Purna Kumbha welcome, as it is called, and he has taken a darshan, as you can see right now, a darshan of Lord Sri Krishna. These are the visuals that you can see on your screens. Of course, there are union ministers also who are accompanying the Prime Minister. He has called it a very special day, and he has said that he's honored to have attended the Laksha Kantha Gita prayers as well. The Prime Minister said that it is a special gathering that brings people together from different sections of the society in a recital of the Gita. In fact, this is Mantha, he said, a very special significance in our cultural life as well. Let me go across to Neha Hebale, who's joining us. These visuals which are coming in of the Prime Minister's spiritual sojourn that he's undertaken, the significance of this mutt, if you may. Neha?
Well, yes, that's right. In fact, we are seeing the Prime Minister now in Udupi having visited the Krishna Matha. This, of course, a planned religious event there in the district that the Prime Minister, of course, was supposed to visit for. And now we're seeing that he's being welcomed there with open arms, even as that roadshow was underway. He was, in fact, showered with flowers, and a lot of people, in fact, thousands of people who had come down to visit the Prime Minister to get a glimpse of him as that roadshow was underway. And even as he's now visited the mutt, of course, he's there now for the recitation of the Bhagavad Gita, of the 1 lakh recitation of the Bhagavad Gita in unison, a major historic event now at the Sri Krishna Matha here that would, of course, be remembered for many years to go down in history.
Well, this is a very significant Matha. It's in fact 800 years old, Sri Krishna Matha, and you can see the Prime Minister there with the seers as well. In fact, they said the Prime Minister has taken part of the Laksha Kantha Gita Parayana where 1 lakh devotees chanted the Bhagavad Gita together. You can see him there with the seers at the Mutt as well. He has inaugurated the new Swarna Tirtha Mantapa as well, the golden Mantapa that you had seen on your screens before this. So it is interesting how, in fact, the Prime Minister is waving to the other devotees who are outside the gate as well. Many of them are waving at the Prime Minister. He took a moment, stopped, and he waved back to all the devotees of at the Mutt as well. These are the live visuals which are coming in. In fact, I'll go back across to Neha. Neha, you must explain to us the significance of this 800-year-old Sri Krishna Matha, because the Prime Minister is there on a spiritual journey today. This time around, it's not about politics. It's a spiritual journey that he's undertaken across both Karnataka and then later on in Goa as well.
Even as the Prime Minister has landed in Udupi now to be a part of the Koti Gita Lekhana Yajna Abhiyan that's being run by the Udupi Parayana Shri Puttige Mutt, where the Prime Minister is right now. There's going to later be a group recitation of the Bhagavad Gita known as the Gita Parayana, which would of course go on, where 1 lakh people would in fact in unison be reciting the Bhagavad Gita, followed by this. He would also then be inaugurating the gold-plated Tirtha Mantapa and even dedicated, in fact, the gold Kanaka Kindi as well, a sacred window that Lord Krishna, is actually believed to have opened for his devotee and his saint as well, Kanakadasa. Most importantly, even as the Prime Minister is on this spiritual journey, it's interesting to note that, there are people who've come down in thousands from across the state to offer, their, of course, offerings as well at the Mutt here. They're going to be a part of the recitation that the Prime Minister also would be a part of. There was a 2-kilometer long roadshow that was held. People had gathered on both sides of the road. They were seen showering, flowers and petals on the Prime Minister, who returned their gesture by waving his hands at them. Also, of course, what remains to be seen is, how this entire spiritual journey of the Prime Minister would, of course, go on to impact the politics in the district of Udupi as well.
Well, Neha, do stay on with us. R. Rajagopalan is also joining us, political analyst. These visuals that we see of the Prime Minister, a deeply personal and spiritual sojourn that he has undertaken. He's never shied away from wearing his Astha on his sleeve. But moments like this reminds us as to how deeply connected he is to it.
Meghna, Prime Minister has last week opened Ram Mandir, full-fledged Ram Mandir. Today he is in Sri Krishna Matha, Udupi, from north to south. What does it indicate? Prime Minister says colonial system like Macaulay should be dumped and we have to have a new fresh of leaf of life like that. Spiritual life. To confirm that, Prime Minister is having a roadshow and he is going to declare open a Mutt, and after that he is going to open a height, very tall Ram statue in Goa. What these things indicate, they are for Hindutva, they are for Hindu, etc. Now, with the backdrop of Karnataka Congress politics, which each and everyone having a dig at each other on Twitter, Siddaramaiah tweeting about word and word, Mr. D.K. Shivakumar giving a description about the word, and the word knows it like that, W-R-O-L-D, W-R-D like that. With these two backdrop, Mr. Narendra Modi's visit to Udupi is very, very important. I can say a serious note will be taken note of by the opposition in Karnataka, and very sure this will culminate in December 8th when Karnataka Assembly meets. BJP will bring a no-confidence motion, and for that Prime Minister visit will give a boost up.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mr. Rajagopalan. You can see the visuals now coming in of the Prime Minister. He's taking part of the Laksha Kantha Gita Parayana, where 1 lakh devotees together are going to be chanting the Bhagavad Gita. It's going to be a moment to savor and to enjoy. In fact, he is going to be inaugurating the new Swarna Tirtha Mandapa as well. But look at these visuals coming in. 1 lakh devotees all set to chant the Bhagavad Gita together with the Prime Minister. Let me go across to Neha. Neha, very significant visuals. In fact, let's listen in as well.
ಪರಮಪೂಜ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀಪಾದಂಗಳವರು ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನ ಪುಷ್ಪದ ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಗತದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಪರಮಪೂಜ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀಪಾದರಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ.
The Prime Minister there being felicitated at the Sri Krishna Matha. Remember, this is an 800-year-old mutt that the Prime Minister has gone to. And as even political analysts have said, the Prime Minister has been speaking about unshackling ourselves from the colonial hangover and to reclaim the legacy and the spirituality of Bharat from Ram Mandir. Today, he is at the Krishna Matha. He is going to continue with his spiritual sojourn later on in Goa as well. But what's interesting now, what you can see on your screens right now, 1 lakh devotees together are going to chant the Bhagavad Gita. They're going to do it along with the Prime Minister. This is the Laksha Kantha Gita Parayana, as it is called, that the Prime Minister is going to be taking part of. So it's very interesting to see these visuals and the kind of a spiritual journey that the Prime Minister today has undertaken. Let me go across to Neha. Neha, what a scene this is to see 1 lakh devotees together, all set to chant the Bhagavad Gita.
Well, that's right. The Prime Minister also, of course, now, becoming a part of that recitation that we're seeing taking place at the Udupi Mutt. The Prime Minister, of course, part of a significant spiritual tour that he's on right now after finishing his visit in Udupi and, carrying out, of course, the necessary arrangements there. We're told that the Prime Minister would later also be going to Goa. He would arrive at Pattagali in South Goa later this afternoon, wherein, of course, he would be joining the 555th year celebrations of the Sri Samsthan Gokarn Pattagali Jeevotam Mutt as well, where he would also later be unveiling a 77-foot bronze statue of Lord Ram. The Prime Minister's office earlier also had mentioned that he will inaugurate the newly developed Ramayan theme park as well, and even release a commemorative postal stamp and coin and address devotees gathered there for the event. The spiritual tour of the Prime Minister, quite a significant one for Udupi district. The Prime Minister's first roadshow that he's held there. We've seen thousands coming down to pay their respects, of course, and, to more importantly, get a glimpse of the Prime Minister.
Because as far as the Prime Minister's connect with his faith is concerned, he's been there always. As far as recently we just saw him at the Ram Mandir, where the flag hoisting ceremony was taking place. Now there's Dharm Yatra that he's undertaken, a slew of events that are now lined up as he has reached the Krishna Mutt there. Public gathering and an address which is expected on part of the Prime Minister. But later in the day, as he also heads to Goa, there are another line of, spiritual events that are now lined up ahead of the Prime Minister. Neha?
Right, of course, we're seeing that ahead of, after the Prime Minister's visit, of course, to Udupi's Krishna Matha, which was established nearly about, 800 years ago by Madhavacharya. The Prime Minister would later in the day also be heading to Goa as well. The Prime Minister, of course, while talking about his visit to Udupi, mentioned that how he was feeling honored to be invited to the Sri Krishna Matha in Udupi to be taking part of the Laksha Kantha Gita Parayana program. And also, he's mentioned how this is a special gathering that brings together people from various sections of society for a recital of the Bhagavad Gita. The fact that the mutt itself, has a very special significance in our cultural life. He's also later gone on to say that, he's been at the forefront of serving society, and being a part of this entire event at the Udupi Krishna Matha, is, of course, a matter of great honor for him.
It's also one of the first visits of the Prime Minister that we are looking at, Neha.
Well, that's right. Of course, as far as Udupi district is concerned, this is the Prime Minister's first roadshow in Udupi, and people who had gathered from various corners of the state just to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister as they showered him with flower petals and their love as well. The Prime Minister, of course, waving at the entire crowd that had gathered there in thousands, now taking part in this mass recitation in which more than 1 lakh devotees would be chanting verses from the Bhagavad Gita together. The Prime Minister also offering prayers at the Sri Krishna temple, receiving blessings from the presiding Parayana Swamiji as well at this particular temple here. While, of course, this would be the Prime Minister's third visit reportedly to Udupi and his second to the Krishna Matha. This particular one, the Prime Minister had mentioned that he was very honored to be a part of, given the importance of the recitation that's taking place at the Matha right now.
So are we looking at any representation also from the state there to welcome the Prime Minister?
Well, yes, of course, we saw the Karnataka Health Minister and District in Charge Minister of Mangalore, Dinesh Gundu Rao, also, of course, receiving the Prime Minister there and, welcoming him to the state of Karnataka. Remember, of course, this isn't the Prime Minister's first visit to Udupi itself, but his first roadshow. Earlier in 1993, as well as in 2008, also when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, the Prime Minister had, in fact, paid a visit to the very same Krishna temple in Udupi. Why this particular visit of the Prime Minister is expected to draw national attention, of course, is because this is one of Karnataka's most revered pilgrimage centers. It's been the spiritual seat of the 13th century philosopher Sri Madhvacharya, who happens to, of course, be the proponent of the Dvaita school of Vedanta as well. As we saw massive preparations that were underway for weeks together for this particular visit of the Prime Minister by the district administration, we've also seen how security has been heightened in and around the entire district itself to manage the crowds that had come down to, visit pay their visit to the temple to be a part of this recitation program and also offer their love and blessings to the Prime Minister.
Well, we're going to just dip in and hear as far as when it comes to on stage, the Prime Minister who is present there and who has arrived in Udupi to be part of the Koti Gita Lekhna Yajna Abhiyan that is being run by the Udupi Parayana Sri Putuje Matha.
चतुर्दश वर्षात् पूर्वं नरेंद्र मोदी महोदयाः आगताः तदनन्तरं द्वितीयवारं पुनः पुत्तिगा मठ पर्याय समये एव आगताः कारणं पुत्तिगे मठ पर्यायः इन्द्र पर्यायः अष्टमठेषु इन्द्र नाम केवलं पुत्तिगे मठस्य अतः अहं सुगुणेन्द्रः सुश्रीन्द्रः उपेन्द्रः इति इंद्र परंपरा पर्यायः तदर्थं नरेंद्र मोदी महोदयाः आगताः पुत्तिगे मठीय पर्याय इति कारणेन अतः नरेंद्र मोदी महोदयस्य विशेष अनुग्रहार्थं कृष्णस्य समीपे प्रार्थनां कुर्मः राममन्दिर निर्माण समर्पणं श्रीकृष्ण समीपे कृतवन्तः सर्वं कृष्णमयं सर्वं कृष्णार्पणम् कलियुगे कृष्णार्पणम् अत्यन्तम् आवश्यकम् अतः ध्वजस्थापना अनन्तरं राममन्दिर निर्माणं सम्पूर्णम् आसीत् तदनन्तरं कृष्णार्पणार्थम् अत्र सुवर्णतीर्थमण्डप उद्घाटनार्थं च आगताः स्वपर्याय इति पुत्तिगे मठ पर्याय समये एव आगताः तेषां बहु अभिनन्दनम्.
Well, Neha, if you can help us understand what has now been, talked about there, or we could understand a little bit, was the completion of Ram Mandir. If I'm correct, if you can just give us more exactly what's been happening and what is being said.
Yes, of course, we're seeing that the Prime Minister there partaking in the recitation of course, 1 lakh devotees, more than 1 lakh devotees who've now gathered at the Sri Krishna Matha in Udupi, which the Prime Minister has visited earlier twice as well. Now we're seeing that as, of course, this recitation program is underway, that, you have seers who have come down from many mutts, not just from Udupi, but from across the state. Devotees from across Karnataka, from neighboring states as well, who have come down for this mass chanting and to witness the Prime Minister's temple visit. What is, of course, quite revering here is to see the way in which 1 lakh plus people have gathered and that they're going to be reciting, verses of the Gita together. This is something that's typically known to be the region's, part of the region's Vaishnavite traditions as well. Moreover, this entire visit of the Prime Minister, the spiritual visit of the Prime Minister is expected to further highlight.
Let's connect with Rahul Ishwar also on this. Rahul, just a few days back, Prime Minister was in Ayodhya. Today he's in Udupi, and he's called this as a special gathering that brings together people from different sections of society for a recital of the Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely. And PM has always been, as a matter of public policy, been proud of India's culture. And especially me being an Indian from South and South Indian, Udupi is personally very close to me. Udupi, Sri Krishna Swami temple, mud are a part of our collective culture. It's a great part of our Vaishnavite, Hindu, Sanatana, Dharma tradition. And people have been very respectful. Beyond religion, every person has been respectful towards the Udupi's Deva Chaitanya, or what we call Udupi's, the sacred space. So it's a great thing, and the Gita recital is extremely important because Bhagavad Gita is one of the greatest, philosophical songs that India has ever produced. Mahatma Gandhi always used to carry Bhagavad Gita with him. Swami Vivekananda always used to carry Bhagavad Gita with them, because that's the greatest spiritual philosophical text that India has given to the world, and we should be proudly reclaiming it. And PM Modi ji is showing a way. That means he can combine Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas on one hand, and being proud about the Sanatana Dharma, Hindu culture, civilization on the other hand. This is the right kind of Gandhian pluralism that we have been practicing, and PM has been very vocal about it, because he's trying to be inclusive. He has given the chadar to the Ajmer Dargah. He has been respectful to all cultures. From Kerala, my own home state, our Christian community were celebrated. He invited all the priests there. December 25th, they celebrate. But PM has not been shy of celebrating the Hindu civilizational values. This is a marked public policy shift, because from our first Prime Minister, the very respected Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, they have always believed that secularism needs to be anti-religion. But PM Modi ji is showing a new path where he is saying, let us combine spirituality, culture, pluralism in a good way, and that has been very monumental, and we should be respectful of it. And I thank, as a Hindu and as an Indian, my pranams to Modi ji for showing a new path where it can be acceptable to all, where with one hand he is showcasing our culture, with other hand he is holding everyone together. So pranams for that.
Well, Rahul, as far as you've been saying that the Prime Minister has been, very frontal when it comes to following his faith, and he's done that openly. And just coming in the heels when he was there in Ayodhya, Ram Mandir is now completed. And today, are we looking at any setting of any records when it comes to this mass Gita recitation that is going to happen? Of course, this is the Gita Parayana, as it is also being called.
The Gita Parayana, or the Gita recitation, or Gita chanting, as we can call it, PM has always been showcased to the world. For example, many of his yoga, Deepavali, Sri Ram related aspects got Guinness Book of World Records. Yogi ji has also been instrumental in doing that. I had a great privilege to be a guest for one of the programs where the maximum number of diyas were dealt. See, we should showcase our Indian culture to the world, because people from even outside are coming to know this Indian culture. People like Mark Zuckerberg, they have come to Indian ashrams. Steve Jobs' wife recently came for our Kumbh Mela. See, world is looking at Indian culture as a solution, because we believe in inclusivity, we respect everyone. So we should showcase it in a very positive way too. See, this is the good thing that India is right now doing, that we are proud of our culture, we are equally respective of other cultures, faith and civilization, and we are upholding it. I hope some kind of record is being set where the mass Gita chanting, there is a spiritual energy. I am a devotee. That spiritual energy is definitely there. But also cultural India soft power. What people like Shashi Tharoor from the other side of the spectrum points out, that PM Modi ji is raising India's soft power across the world. And on diplomatic sense, even though Gita is personal and spiritual to me, there is a soft power angle to it too. So we are raising our soft power in a big way. When PM goes to Japan, he is giving Bhagavad Gita as a gift. See, these kind of things will increase and enhance India's soft power. And when he was going to Saudi Arabia, what he was doing was handing over the King Aziz one mosque from Kerala, the oldest mosque from Kerala. So this is how we need to approach our culture in a pluralistic, harmonious, Gandhian way, in a big way. And I hope some kind of records are being achieved. And it doesn't belong to PM. It belongs to all of us. He is having that record on behalf of us. So it's a matter of great pride in the land of Gita that we are getting such a record for the mass recital or the chanting of one of the holiest books that humankind has produced.
And last question to you, Rahul, because as you mentioned, Prime Minister Modi is a devout Hindu. He follows all of the rituals. He follows as far as when he going to any mandirs or any mutt for any darshan, that he does that. And equal kind of respect that is showcased to other religions as well. But coming from the state of Karnataka, well, the state government is different here. But the kind of reception that the Prime Minister has received, we have seen politicians undertaking election yatra, but this time it is Dharam yatra that the Prime Minister has undertaken.
See, that's the core point of it. See, I don't belong to any political party, but let me say this with pride. This is the kind of Hindu that India has always dreamt about. This is what Swami Vivekananda has taught the world. This is what Mahatma Gandhi has taught the world. On one hand, we should be a proud Hindu. On the other hand, we are a prouder Indian. On one hand, we are upholding our faith. On the other hand, there is a Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And PM is showing the right path. And especially in Karnataka, where we know, with due respect, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, we had a lot of strings of anti-Hindu, anti-Sanatan statement where people, even the Deputy Chief Minister, Udayanidhi Stalin, went on record to say that it is dengue malaria. I'm even shy to say those words. I'm embarrassed to say those words coming from the son of the Chief Minister. He had said some very bad things. We all know. So coming from some spaces of South where Sanatana Dharma, Hindu Dharma is derided compared to dengue, malaria and AIDS, I'm sad to say that, but coming from that space, coming from anti-Hindu spaces of some pockets of South, it's such a welcome move, and this is the right kind of faith celebration. And one more thing, I would like to thank, especially coming from the background of Sabarimala, I would like to thank Honorable President of India, Draupadi Murmuji. Draupadi Murmuji came to Sabarimala. She offered the respect to Vavarnada. Vavarnada is an Islamic nada inside the Sabarimala Hindu temple.
I believe
she offered her prayers there.
is taking place. We're just going to dip into the live audio that is coming in. But Rahul, thank you very much for joining in.
Namo